What's up? What's up? I got the dryer running in the background, so if you hear something that sounds like money jangling, that's what it is. You already know, right? I used to watch these videos with, I think he probably still does it. Joey Diaz used to go live on Periscope, like every day, and smoke weed, and just to rally his troops, get his people together, let him know he's still thinking about him, all that shit. And I used to do it with him, and I used to love it. It's like 4 or 5 years ago. When he'd come up, just give me a reason to step out of my mind, that is, right? Let go of things. So, I've been reading this, The Wave Mastery. I'm only on chapter 2, or just started, so I'm on chapter 2. And something that I'm practicing right now is, so basically it's a workbook, right? And chapter 2 is mostly, it's about how you create your experience, right? And so one of the exercises is for you to basically say that I need to do nothing, like I don't need to do anything. And the idea is that whatever you end up doing, it's because you choose to do it, right? And something else is, where is it? There's a second lesson. There's 3 lessons in this chapter, exercises, right? Let's see. In these lessons, so it says mastery arises from innocence. Be again as a little child to enter the kingdom of heaven. This is all like from the Bible, but it's elaborations on it, right? Let's see. Sorry, I guess I didn't read the lesson good enough. There was an idea in here where basically it's to say not to judge anything in your experience. And so, like, if you find yourself doing monotonous activities like drinking water, waking up in the morning, stuff that you typically do, but don't really pay any attention to, the idea is just that God will alert you that this is now time to bring attention to this thing. And so you would say, okay, I'm choosing to do this, or I'm doing this now, and it is good, right? And I couldn't find it. I don't want to, I didn't even pause the video, right? So basically, what I decided is that I'm going to do that with smoking weed. And because it's something I do every day, and every day I do it, I judge myself. I don't know about you, but I've internalized a lot of judgment and criticism for self-medicating, basically, right? Or practicing a ritual, getting closer to God, whatever you want to call it, right? And I've internalized it a lot. So what I'm doing every day is trying to break free of it, right? And also trying to own it, right? Because it's one of the ways to get rid of shame is to own the thing that you're being shamed about, and to say, yes, that is me, and then to follow it up with, because that's how God made me, right? If God didn't want me to do this, I wouldn't be doing it, right? It's very simple. It's actually very straightforward. And most of us feel that we feel like we have ideas that are better than God, and God doesn't really know what needs to be done, or what's going on, or what I'm struggling through. And so because of that justifies me to make judgments on other people and God's creation and all this other stuff. And we all know what that is. That's ego. That's the thing that believes it's separate. And the thing that was always funny to me is how this little thing called the ego develops. I think it's the most interesting thing. And what really people don't understand is that the battle between heaven and earth is the battle between your mind and what's trying to get inside your mind. That's not from God. Now, because God made us all like Him, and because God doesn't see anything as good or bad, but just says it is good in all of His creations, whether they be dark or light, it's up to us to figure it out. Because God gave us sovereignty. We're each sovereign individuals, right? So He gave us sovereignty, which means that it's up to us to make the choice. And can't remember who said it, but nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. It's very true, right? So as long as you keep thoughts out of your head, you're probably going to have a good day, right? But most of us, we get outside impressions, outside thoughts. A lot of the times we've internalized this stuff and it now becomes little thought forms like domestic is like me, 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 right? But instead it's like a negative one. It's like a negative, just constantly just chattering in the back. It's like, oh man, like I can't fucking, every time you try to have an idea, you think, man, doesn't help. What I've found helps me is weed. So we're going to take this hit together. As I was exhaling, I watched some birds fly by. And I was thinking, just like that, all that just falls away. And to me, the way I see it is, if that's what happens when I do this, then I understand why they don't want me to. Think about it. If you take away somebody's mechanism of control, do you think they're going to be pleased? Do you think they're going to be excited that you did that? Probably not, right? Probably not. And for some reason, on this plane, we like to control people. Who cares why we like to, but we like to. And the one thing that you can't control is what happens when you get high. Can't control that. You may think you can, but you can't. And that's why addicts love getting high, because they don't have to be in control. Because remember that we don't want to be in control. Like, nobody actually wants to be. People kind of hate having to be in control. But because we fear, we try to control. And it's that simple. It's like, why do we fear? Why do we fear? It's a good question. Why do we fear? What makes us fear? You could say, well, we're biological animals and we have a need for survival. And okay, I understand that. I get that. So fear is nature and all this other stuff. And that's how I used to think of it too. But you see, the only thing that fears a need to survive is the thing that fears it's the ending of its own existence. And in order to do that, you need to believe that your existence could even end. And so even animals, when they feel fear, it's not fear the way we feel fear. See, our fear is a creation of the mind, which manifests in the body. Animals' fear is an energetic vibration, right? It's a natural response. And actually, if you want to bring it all the way back, the animals are a projection of our own internal consciousness. So even if an animal is fearing, it's because we are fearing something, or something inside us is fearing something. And, you know, I'm sure you've studied psychology. I'm sure you've looked into it a little bit. This stuff, It's not as solid. It's not as firm packed or concrete as people want to believe it is. Our reality is constantly changing, constantly shifting. And you can help shift your own reality. And I know that's like what everybody on YouTube's talking about, or like everybody's just talking about these days. But the reality is that it's true, right? And it's not necessarily that you can create your own reality that's then separate from all the other realities. That's not how it works. It's you can create your own reality. You can co-create with reality, with God, to create your own reality. And this is my tagline: for the good of all. So you can't do this and manipulate and use power and try to get your way and all this other type of stuff like that keeps you in low vibration, that keeps you attached to the lower dimensions. You'll never be able to reach to where you think you can go if you operate from that point of view. So just, like, you won't be resonating, you won't be watching this video. So if you're watching this video, that's not you, right? You don't have to worry about that. So if you can co-create your reality, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, what I've learned, sorry about the noise, what I've learned is that my will is God's will. So whatever I want, God wants. But here's the thing, there's a part of me, there's something inside me that believes it's separate from God, that thinks it has its own will. That's what I learned today. There's something inside you that thinks that believes it has its own will. What I learned yesterday is that thing is darkness, right? Neither one of these things are true. They exist in time. They have a temporal existence. Does that make sense? So if we can create our own reality, what's stopping us? Well, there are certain forces, certain people, certain forces, energies on this plane that, let's just say, are here to awaken you. And most of us do not awaken when we're nice and comfortable. We just don't. When you're warm in bed, when you're sleeping, when the room's cold but your bed's warm, you're not getting up. And it's that reason that you stay asleep. And it's not until you get uncomfortable, you get too hot, thirsty, you gotta pee, something wakes you up. It's not until then that you wake up. Something wakes you up. Something wakes you up. What do you think that is? Remember, God doesn't care. God will use an asteroid or God will use a priest. God doesn't care. God's like God, the universe, right? We want to take a personality out of it. The universe is only interested in one thing. And that's the development of consciousness. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Because as you develop your consciousness, you can only reach one point. And what you do is you come back to the creator, to the universe, with a higher level of consciousness, and you now feed the source. You contribute back to the all. And because of that, God's consciousness is raised. The universe expands. But it's not going to do that until you start listening. So people could say, like, eternity is waiting on you. And it really is. It's waiting on your choice. And this is why we exist in time. Because the universe can expand without time. It doesn't need time. We create time. We create time because we think we need time in order to experience. We don't necessarily need time in order to experience. We create time to experience. It's a belief that we need time to experience. The only thing that we were told to do is to create like the creator, not to create time. We just decided to create time because we wanted to extend our experience. Does that make sense? Because otherwise it'd be a flash in a pan. It wouldn't last. So we create time collectively together so that we can all come together and share an experience. But some of us believe that in this experience we're separate from what created us. Meanwhile, it's the thing that created us that's giving us these beliefs. Ain't that some shit? Everything is of God. There's nothing outside of God. So no thought, no destruction, no nasty shit, no like defiledness, no like nothing is outside of God. Everything is God. Everything. The worst thing that you could imagine has God on the other side of it, has God inside of it, has God all around it. There's nothing, the worst thing you can imagine is God. That's why in the Hindu religion, in the Hindu culture, they have God split in a duality. But the inner teaching is that the real goal is to unify the two, to create a third. And that's what we're here doing. That's what we have a Trinity. So, what's the point of all this? Well, there is none. I mean, there is one, but it doesn't matter to you. Like, you're just here living your life. You don't have to worry about this. It's already taken care of for you. You shouldn't worry about anything, really. All you should do is do what makes you happy. If it doesn't bring you joy, don't do it. It's that simple. If it doesn't fulfill you, don't do it. If it fulfills you, do it. Now, don't do it at the expense of others. Right? Make sure everybody can win. But that's all it takes. So, that's all I got. Talk to you soon. Peace.